To get started, we're going to install two 8-foot panels in the front. We're going to mark the bottom for a guide. Measure from the top of the board that's above the door header and add 3/4 of an inch. By adding that extra 3/4 of an inch, that'll put the top of the panel in the center of the board. Measure the width of where the panel is going to go and subtract 1/4 of an inch. By subtracting that 1/4 of an inch, we'll have an 1/8 of an inch gap between the panels for potential wood expansion. You want to paint the edges that you just cut. This is a great chance to use up some of that old paint you have lying around. The first panel you install on any of the walls is going to be the most important. You want to make sure that the wall is level and that the panel is level with the wall. First, you're going to set your corner nails, and from there you're going to start from one side of the panel to the other, nailing every 12 inches on the panel edge and 16 inches in the center. Now we can use the bottom of these front panels as guides for the other walls. When you measure the length of the back panel, you need to leave a 1/2 inch at the top for where the roof framing is going to sit. Since both edges of the wall are going to be the same, we're going to cut both of them at the same time. Just like we mentioned before, you're going to start with the side. You're going to square up the shed frame and panel, leaving an 1/8 of an inch on the frame edge for expansion. So after doing the front panels and that first back panel, I figured out that using layered wood as a panel guide worked way better than nails. Now all we got to do is use a nail as an 1/8 inch spacer between the panels and put the rest of them up. Both side walls are the same, and I started both of them by installing the panel closest to the back wall first. You'll notice that the upper part of the side walls isn't framed out yet. We'll only be able to do that after the roof is framed. This means that we're going to need to leave 3/4 of an inch at the top instead of 1/2 an inch like on the back. From here on, everything's kind of rinse and repeat. You're going to start with the wall edge, measure the panels so they meet halfway in the framing members, square up your wall panels, use galvanized nails every 12 inches on the outside, 16 inches in the panel, and make sure you leave a gap between the panels for expansion. If you use the article in the description as a reference, I changed the front layout so you can use all vertical panels. So, you know that old adage about measure twice, cut once? Well, that's nothing that a Royoba can't fix. Now that we got all the structural sheathing in place, we don't need that piece of framing that's at the bottom of the door. Well, I suck at being accurate with a reciprocating saw, so I cleaned up the edges with a rasp. So if you put up your sheathing the way I've done it here, only problem I'm seeing is that there's only 3/4 of an inch of material under the windows. But I'm sure it's going to be fun, because number one, I nailed the heck out of it, and number two, I plan on building these areas out before I do house wrap and foam panels. If you got a better idea on how to lay these panels out, please leave it in the comments section so we all can learn from it. And if you want, you can send me a picture and I can make sure to put it on the article. Ah yeah, no visible seams from the inside. So one thing I didn't show was that as I was going through all my old paint, I came across some deck paint, so I painted the floor with it. Well, I'd like to thank you for watching. Barta's Adopt a Shop Pet cameos next. If you could like, share, and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. There's some social media links in the description if you want to check out some behind-the-scenes action. Get out there and make something, and we'll see you next time.